Hello, my name is Dante Renee, and welcome to the 10 Room Bizarro YouTube page where I talk about films that I believe need to be talked about more. Like tonight's film, 1985's Trashy Lady. This is put out by Vinegar Syndrome on Blu-ray and DVD, and on the cover right there, you are indeed seeing Mr. Harry Reams and Ginger Lynn, a film set in the roaring 20s. This is the back, some screenshots right here that you can also find on the Vinegar Syndrome website. And if you ever had any doubts in your mind on what the production value could be for a X-rated adult film, you've come to the right place. Trashy Lady. Also check out another one that I recently reviewed called Blue Ice, also on this page. So we're about to get into my video praise of this film from 1985. We're right in the middle of the 80s here, folks. And this is a film that will really shine a spotlight on Ginger Lynn, on Harry Reams. We also have Herschel Savage, one of my favorites, Bunny Blue. There are a lot of people in here. You're even going to see Tom Byron, who was in one that I looked at on this YouTube page, Loose Times at Ridley High. There's lots of great characters in this film. Let's enter into Trashy Lady. I made some notes here, so you're going to see my eyes divert. Let's get into this spectacular film, X-rated film set in the Roaring '20s. Now, you can right off the bat, you're gonna notice kind of the big band music in the intro credits, and the intro credits have this old art, elegant, artistic, classy, and mixed with that big band swing type music from the 20s. Man, what a feel right at the get-go of the movie. We have 20s kind of talking and dialogue in this film, production, the furniture, the costumes. It's all legit. I mean, it's really legit. Harry Reams' character really stands out in this film. He reminds me a bit of Archie Bunker from All in the Family a little bit. The interesting thing is that everything is really legit 20s, and then all of a sudden you hear some F-bombs. You hear fuck, notably from the women in the film, but there's a reason for that, and it's part of the storyline, actually. We have some light, smoky jazz piano, and even jazz guitar work as well in this particular film. Interesting, as we enter into the club called Club Paradise, the whole screen fills up as if the camera's right in front of the actual neon sign of the club. It has a weird look to it. It's a weird vibe. Your whole screen flashes as if you're standing right in front of the sign of the club. It fills the screen. We have, we start this film off with music, and then all of a sudden we have a sex scene with Ginger Lynn, and it's silent. You only hear the sound of the table moving. There's not even any moans, and it's all part of the storyline. It's all part of the characters, in particular Ginger Lynn's character. Now, the interesting thing is that this film utilizes flashbacks. It utilizes conversations coming to life. So conversations about something that happened historically, and then we, the viewer, get to watch what they're talking about back and forth. Very interesting. We have very smooth angles in the sex scenes in this film, and there's the sex scenes, all different lengths to the sex scenes. Some are longer than others, but they all kind of, they have this way of really throwing you in from the get-go. As soon as the sex starts, they have this way of just throwing you in, and it's done really well. Ginger Lynn looks really young in this film, and this is actually, I've seen her in other things, and of course she's in modern films like non-X-rated films like Rob Zombie's 31 and also The Devil's Rejects. And the interesting thing is that I always found her attractive, and I also did a video on here for her film Too Naughty to Say No, also put out by Vinegar Syndrome. You can check that out. But this is the film where I really started to love her. This is the film right here, Trashy Lady. The interesting theme in this film is that there's a problem with Ginger Lynn's character. She's too much of a lady. She's too much of a lady. And the head mobster kind of boss of the city, he wants a new dame. And that dame can't be a lady. That dame's got to say fuck. That dame's got to be a trashy lady. We have old cars in this movie. Yeah, legit old cars. We have this weird shot at a desk that is out of focus, it seems. It's interesting. It seems like at the desk it's out of focus a bit. We got some quotes. Excuse me, we got some quotes here. What the fuck? That's a quote. Another quote is, this is great, deals with the theme of the movie. What a guy like me needs is a trashy lady like you. what a guy like me needs is a trashy lady like you. Um, as I said, it jumps into the sex scenes vividly. Um, and this film, it starts off with music and then all of a sudden it goes silent for a while, even in the sex scenes, and then the music starts to come back again. It's very interesting how that happens. We have a pretty messy, wild blowjob in this movie with Amber Lynn and Harry Reams' character. If you like blowjobs, if you like that, it's messy, it's wild, facial, the whole nine. Amber Lynn, you're going to know from Evils of the Night, a non-X-rated film that I absolutely love, that I looked at on this YouTube page as well. Absolutely love that horror film. We got the quote here, "What a dame, what a dame." Harry's voice in this film, his acting is superb. Ginger Lynn's acting is superb. Everybody's doing an amazing job. Herschel Savage is always amazing. I talked about him in my video on Blue Ice. I mean, he's just amazing. Nobody gives these actors credit at all. And really, as I've said before, to bridge the gap in acting in general, verbally, but also acting non-verbally in the sex scenes. So it's not an easy thing whatsoever. But his voice and his volume is so intense in this film, so loud. We got a paperboy, a Roaring '20s paperboy. There's this amazing sex scene in the film, one of the best, where Ginger Lynn, the innocence of Ginger Lynn's character, she's learning how to give a blowjob, how to do oral sex, and it is just unbelievable. I mean, if you're a fan of Ginger Lynn, or if you're a fan of the golden age of porn, or if you're a fan of oral sex scenes, this one is spectacular. That whole innocence vibe, the whole young innocence vibe from Ginger Lynn's character, that whole thing. There's somebody's being taught, they don't know what to do. It's, cream of the crop right here, folks. The dynamics of Amber Lynn in this particular scene are fantastic, as she's doing her nails, as she's nonchalant, as she's teaching Ginger Lynn, using the paperboy. It's wild. Her attitude is amazing. Amber Lynn, definitely. Amber Lynn was also in and I believe it's shot on video, 80s horror film called Things, which definitely you should check out as well. We have rival mobster leaders of the city in this film. The phrases that they're using really sound like those types of phrases from old movies, and it's very, very legit. There's some great stuff. There's a shot here where there's these gates in front of a house or something, and the camera shoots through the gates to that old-fashioned car parked in the front. It's just a great, great shot, and the gate opens. Ginger's just her sex scenes in this film are just spectacular. The way she breathes, the whole nine. I mean, her eyes are very, very focused in this film. They're very there's a lot going on there. Wild ejaculation shots, if that's something that you that you like, definitely in this film. There's a section in a gym of boxers. It's a boxer gym. They've got some gambling going on with the boxers. And we have a shadow through a door, through kind of the top pane of warped glass, in the old movies. And you can see a shadow of somebody walking up to it. It just reminds me of those old movies. Just so well. That reflection through the glass. We have the fan. We not only see what's happening historically in a conversation in front of our eyes, we also see the fantasy inside of a woman's head right before our eyes, intercut with reality, with what actually is happening. Excuse me. And the interesting thing is that when we're entering into her fantasy world at the boxing gym, we're still hearing some of the clouded, real sounds of what's actually happening there. That was really a nice little thing that they did there with the film. And part of her fantasy is a double blowjob, double penetration. I mean, it's pretty nuts for the woman's fantasy. Right there. If you like lingerie, you're gonna love this film. If you like legs, you're gonna love this film. Folded legs, kind of like sitting folded, like on top, knee bent legs, you're gonna love this movie. There's a great multiple mirrors reflection shot in a bedroom as Ginger Lynn is kind of sitting there doing her hair, doing her makeup. Great shot there. Some hilarity in this film as well, as Ginger's character is trying to curse. And trying to get out of being a quote-unquote lady and being more of a trashy lady. Yes. And there's there's a wild scene between Bunny Blue and Ginger Lynn, two women oral scene with each other. Amazing detail in this film. If you have a furniture fetish like Walerian Borocek supposedly did, there's a particular scene of each naked woman sitting on the same chair and switching. This would be something for you as well, even with butts and everything else. There's just a lot of detail in the oral scene between these two girls, and it's a great, great shot. We have a slow camera pan in a prison sequence in this film as somebody is meeting to talk with somebody else as they're currently in jail, Herschel Savage. And the camera just slowly moves into the room and then pans around the table. Really, really good shot. Fantasies are spoken in this movie, and fantasies are seen as they're spoken. And it brings a surreal... there's a surreal aspect to this one fantasy being spoken of, and as we're seeing it, as in the fantasy, the prison guard is standing there just watching, So it's really weird. It brings a surreal fantasy type of vibe to it, because the prison guard's in the fantasy just standing there, staring at the sex. So really interesting. Somebody in the prison is talking about their fantasy, and in the fantasy, the guard's there. Weird, huh? We got gunplay in this movie. We got an old radio playing old tunes. Amazing lighting in this one. This amazing kind of neon lighting when Ginger's taking a bubble bath. Look at the bubbles. Look at the room. Look at her face. You're going to see some different hues, different colors happening. Really, really good stuff. This is a film with a lot of dirty talk. This is a film with a lot of detail on vaginas. Very close-up shots of vaginas in this film. We have a plot theme of bootlegging in this movie. And there's a really bizarre scene as we go from a prison to a banquet. It was a really, really bizarre scene, the transition of that. And the film has this wildly abrupt ending to me. I was almost ready for another hour or something, I obviously enjoyed it. And it ends on a freeze frame, and an interesting freeze frame at that. And this is really, really a spectacular adult film. Spectacular with acting, with production value, and even some humor. And some just great, great sequences and sex sequences. This is 1985's Trashy Lady. Thank you so much for watching the 10 Room Bizarro YouTube page, where I talk about films that I believe need to be talked about more, like Trashy Lady from 1985. Thank you so much, and good night.